Imagine sitting in class. Just another Monday morning. Your teacher is helping a student with their work. The room is quiet. Pens moving across paper. Pages turning. Nothing unusual. Then the classroom door opens. A student walks in. Someone everyone recognizes. Someone who belongs there. He reaches into his bag. And before anyone understands what's happening, he attacks. The teacher doesn't even have time to turn around. The students scream. Chairs crash into the floor. People run. And within minutes, a woman who had spent 40 years teaching children is fighting for her life. Tonight, we're talking about the murder of Ann Maguire, a case that shocked Britain and left one terrifying question behind. Welcome to the podcast You Can't Unhear. Ann Maguire was the kind of teacher every school hopes to have. She had spent 4 decades at Corpus Christi Catholic College in Leeds. 40 years. Long enough to teach multiple generations of the same families. Some of her students would grow up and later send their own children into her classroom. She taught Spanish. But she was known for much more than that. Former students described her as warm, patient, dedicated, the heart of the school. Outside the classroom, she was a wife, a mother, a woman deeply devoted to her family. She and her husband Don had built a life together, raised children together. And when tragedy struck her extended family, they stepped in and adopted her sister's children. Everything about Anne's life pointed in the same direction, helping people. By 2014, she was preparing for retirement. After 40 years of teaching, she was finally approaching the finish line. She had no idea one of her students had been thinking about her almost every day. Not because he admired her, because he wanted her dead. His name was Will Cornick. Born in June 1998. By most accounts, his childhood appeared normal. His parents were divorced, but both remained involved in his life. Teachers described him as intelligent, hard-working, friendly. He maintained excellent attendance, performed well academically, had no criminal record. Nothing about him stood out. At least, not at first. When Will was 12 years old, he was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. For many children, that diagnosis would be difficult. For Will, it seemed to mark a turning point. One of his dreams had been joining the British Army. Now that future was gone. Around the same time, he began developing an intense hatred toward one particular teacher, Ann Maguire. Nobody really understood why. Even later, psychiatrists struggled to explain it. There wasn't a major confrontation. No traumatic incident. No severe punishment. Just an obsession. One that slowly grew stronger. At one point, Anne prevented him from attending a school trip because he hadn't completed his work. Will ignored the decision and attended anyway. But the resentment stayed. His hatred became so intense, he refused to attend meetings involving her. He didn't want to hear her voice, didn't want to see her, didn't even want to be in the same room. Over time, his obsession began spilling into other parts of his life. Friends noticed. He talked about killing her, repeatedly. Not once. Not twice. For years. Christmas Eve, 2013. While most families were celebrating, Will was messaging friends online, discussing how he wanted to murder Ann Maguire. Some of the messages were graphic, detailed, specific. But nobody treated them as a real threat. He was 15. Teenagers say stupid things. People assumed it was frustration, dark humor, attention-seeking. Nobody imagined he meant it. But behind the scenes, the obsession continued growing. Investigators later found images of knives on his phone. His social media profile displayed grim imagery, including a Grim Reaper picture. The fantasy had become part of his identity. And then came April 28th, 2014, the day he finally acted. That morning, Will brought knives to school. And something else. A bottle of Jack Daniel's whiskey. According to investigators, he planned to drink it afterward, to celebrate. Before the attack, he even showed a knife to another student, asked how sharp it looked, then smiled and walked away. Around 30 minutes into Anne's Spanish lesson, Will entered the classroom. Anne was helping a student with their work, leaning over a desk, focused on teaching. She never saw him coming. Without warning, he attacked, stabbing her repeatedly from behind, again and again. Will was already over 6 feet tall. Anne stood just over 5 feet. The attack was sudden, violent, relentless. Students screamed. Teachers rushed toward the classroom. One of them was Susan Francis. She later described hearing chaos erupting down the hallway. When she reached the classroom, she saw Anne staggering out, Will following behind her, still attacking. Susan managed to pull Anne away. She pushed her into a nearby room and jammed her foot against the door to stop Will entering. Later, Susan would describe Will's face. Not angry, not emotional, just empty. Like a mask. Emergency services were called immediately. But Anne had suffered catastrophic injuries. Her jugular vein had been severed. She lost consciousness in the ambulance and later died. 40 years of teaching. A lifetime spent helping others. Gone in a matter of minutes. Meanwhile, Will sat down, calmly. And according to witnesses, said, "Good times. No panic. No remorse. No attempt to escape. Just those 2 words." Police arrested him without resistance. What followed shocked even experienced psychiatrists. Will admitted he had thought about killing Anne for years. Not weeks. Not months. Years. Experts diagnosed significant psychopathic traits. One psychiatrist described a level of emotional coldness rarely encountered in practice. Another noted his lack of empathy was extraordinary. The investigation revealed something even more unsettling. The weekend before the murder, Will attended a family birthday party. Relatives described him as polite, happy, normal. Nobody saw any warning signs. Nobody imagined he was days away from murder. During court proceedings, the full extent of his obsession emerged. 3 years of fantasies. 3 years of planning. 3 years of hatred. Directed toward a woman who had simply been his teacher. No conspiracy. No revenge. No motive most people could understand. Just obsession. Will Cornick pleaded guilty. The judge sentenced him to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 20 years, and made it clear he might never be released. The judge described his behaviour as grotesque, particularly his pride in what he had done. His appeal was quickly rejected. For Anne's family, there was no real victory. No sentence could bring her back. When people talk about this case, they often ask the same question. Could it have been prevented? If someone had reported the messages, if someone had taken the threats seriously, if somebody had spoken up. Maybe. Maybe not. The terrifying thing isn't that he snapped, it's that he didn't. He wasn't out of control. He waited for years. And sometimes that's far scarier than a crime committed in a moment of rage. Because rage burns out. Obsession doesn't. As always, stay safe out there, guys. And I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast You Can't Unhear.